Hello, I'm Lucy from BSES. We're the British Schools Exploring Society. We're a youth development charity and we're based at the Royal Geographical Society in London. We're quite a small company, so we take a few trips every year and we pride ourselves in being quite personal and small-based. We're the longest running company of this sort, because there's lots of gap year companies around nowadays, but we've actually been running since the 1930s. We started, our inspiration came from Captain Scott's final Antarctic expedition in 1913, and one of the first people to come on one of our expeditions was Roald Dahl, so we've been going for a long time now. The places we go to vary every year, but we specialise in the poles, so we go to the Arctic and some years we go to Antarctica. We also specialise in the mountains, and we tend to go to the Himalayas, and the jungle, we go to the Amazon every year. But our trips depend on the leaders. So if you were interested in leading, or someone's interested in creating an expedition, that's open. So they change every year, and next year we're going to the desert as well. So the way I fit into this, I led an expedition as a science leader in 2008 to Svalbard. So I was part of a bigger team. And now I am the Southeast Regional Coordinator, so I do marketing in the Southeast. But I'm also a geography teacher as well. So for me, my role at BSES fits into another career. But for some people, it's a full-time career. So the other leaders at BSES are a huge mix of people. Some of them are mountaineering experts. We've got scientists that come along from the British Antarctic Survey in the South Pole. A lot of other teachers as well that you do this sort of thing in their summer holidays. We've got doctors as well, though, and some just outdoors enthusiasts. So some people are very experienced and have got lots of qualifications. Other people just come along for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So we're leading young people between the ages of 16 and 23. This was my team in the Arctic in 2008. And we take people from all over the world. So we're called the British Schools Exploring Society, but we take a range of people from youth organisations, schools, universities even. And this is just an idea of the sort of trips that we run. This and next year we're doing Arctic kayaking trip. So it's 24-hour sunlight at this time of year. The sun never sets in Svalbard. And that will be going in the summer holidays this year and next summer holiday as well. And these expeditions run for about a month. We also go to the Himalayas. We're going this year and next year. We've been going for the past few years. A high altitude trip. And again, this one's for about a month. We go to the Amazon, and this is one of our ongoing expeditions that we've been running for a long time now. Arctic mountaineering, and this is actually the one that I ran in 2008, and we tend to do this one every year as well, but things do change. So as well as the shorter expeditions, we also do gap year expeditions. These run for about 10 to 12 weeks, but they're pretty extreme. It's basically 12 weeks. This one's in the Arctic with nothing at all apart from your rucksack, your tent, and the people that you're with. So there's little communication. We've got satellite phones, but of course there's no mobile phones, there's no toilets, there's no showers, there's absolutely nothing. So these expeditions are a real taste of real expeditioning, if you like. And next year we're going to the desert. This is our first desert trip. So this is an example of a new expedition we're running, and that's because we had a leader that was interested in that area of the world. So expeditions do change as the years pass. And there's two parts to our expeditions. We call our expeditions Adventure with a Purpose. So there's an exploration and an adventure side, and teams will have a leader that's in charge of the exploration and adventure side. And the sorts of things we might be doing really depend on the people that come on the trips. These are the sorts of trips where we don't give people an itinerary. If they wanted to have a first go at ice climbing and someone could support them doing that, we'd try and make it happen. And there's also an environmental research part of our trips, and this is what I was involved in on my trip. We do some scientific research, and again, we're saying to young people that come on these expeditions, it's a fantastic element to put down on CVs and things to say that you contributed to some science work whilst you're there. And we're affiliated people like the British Antarctic Survey, WWF India work with us as well. So my job was to design a science project in the Arctic, and I was measuring ablation of glaciers. So you can see my team in this picture. They were measuring to see how fast the glacier melted. So I was just involved in coordinating that. But I went along with my idea of a science project. I'm a geography teacher, so that's the bit that I did. But other people come along with meteorology knowledge or ecology knowledge, wildlife knowledge. So leaders come on with their ideas, and then our expeditions are very flexible depending on a leader's specialities. Day-to-day life then as well is a big challenge because you're organising people as young as 16 on these expeditions, and some of them are expert campers and some of them are fantastic climbers and things like that, but for some people they haven't got much experience of the outdoors at all. This pole here was actually our toilet. It was just a hole dug in the snow. So it's getting yourself used to those conditions as well as young people as well. It's a big challenge. So we spend the first week on an expedition just getting used to our kit and how to survive out in the Arctic or the Amazon or wherever you are. So this is a brief look at the way leadership was put together on my expedition, but it does depend every year where you go and what happens. So the chief leader, planning starts about 2 years before the expedition. A chief leader will come with an idea for an expedition or the motivation to want to lead an expedition, and that's a paid role. They're paid about £2,000 to do that, as well as expenses. The chief scientist and chief mountaineer are also paid roles, but the rest of us are voluntary. So we don't get paid to do this. I get paid to be a coordinator in the southeast, but we didn't get paid to go on the expedition. But that actually means that that's part of the ethos. We're actually a charity, so I had to fundraise myself to go as well. But it means you get people on these expeditions, leaders as well as young people that really want to be there. YEs, that's what we call the young people, young explorers. There's lots and lots of different opportunities available for leadership. So we have doctors, a team of doctors there. We had boatmen on my expedition in the Arctic, but that might vary. The fires are the names for our groups. So when young people get on these expeditions, they're split into fires. And my role was science leader of one of the fires. So we have groups of about 10 young people, and a fire leader and a science leader and an adventure leader will be in charge of those people. There might also be an assistant leader as well. So costs. As I said, I had to pay a contribution of about £200, but young people are paying almost £3,000 to go on these expeditions. So that £200 was actually covered for me. I made an application for a bursary, and because we're a charity, we do get a lot of funding for leaders. So although you may not be paid to go on this expedition, unless you were one of the top roles, there's lots of opportunity to get your expenses covered. And we're also helping young people fundraise as well, because £3,000 is a huge amount to pay. And as you can see, they're not funding leaders. They're not lining leaders' pockets on these expeditions. They're paying for insurance, safety, all their equipment and things like that. So if you're interested in leading or coming on an expedition as a young person, you can have a look at our website, www.bses.org.uk. And if you click on the leaders area, this is just a quick glimpse at this year's. Our expeditions leave in April, so this is this year's. They're pretty much full now. But if you're looking to go next year, most of the positions are open still. And you can see there's lots and lots of different positions there: assistant leader, fire leader, jungle leaders, all these sorts of things. And when I went on the expedition, I didn't actually have any outdoors qualifications. So what I brought to the team was, because I'm a teacher, was my experience with young people. I was actually looking at training for my summer mountain leader at the moment, so I could bring that. But acceptance as a leader on one of these expeditions largely depends on the larger team. So the chief leader will be in charge of building up a team of people with a huge variety of skills. Thank you for listening. I've got lots of brochures with more information and things over here if you'd like to come and speak to me afterwards to find out a bit more.